Okay, everyone, looks like we've reached the 12:30 start time. So we're going to jump right into it. I want to welcome everyone to our webinar, The Latest Trends in Augmented Reality and WebAR's Impact. Recently we've been receiving a lot of questions and comments surrounding WebAR. And in today's session, we're going to be answering those common questions and really discussing the barriers of WebAR so that when your team is going to be moving forward with an augmented reality project, you're going to be better informed to know which type of augmented reality to move forward with. So we're going to start today's session off with just a quick introduction. My name is Sean Purcell. I'm Director of Business Development here at Tipping Point Media. Been with the company for about 7 years now, and I handle a lot of our upfront consulting work and strategic client development. I'm also joined here with my colleague, Brittany. Brittany, do you want to do a quick introduction?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Gilbert DeMarco. I'm the Director of Experiential Strategy here at Tipping Point Media. I oversee all of the virtual reality, augmented reality, and gamification projects here that we develop at TPM. And I have a background in game design and development, so very excited to talk to you about the latest advancements of AR technology today.
Thank you, Brittany. Okay, so today we're going to cover some really quick background information on Tipping Point. We're going to discuss what is app-based AR, what is web-based AR. We're going to talk about the benefits to both. Then we're also going to cover, which one do we use, and we're going to also discuss some use cases, some trends, and we're going to wrap up here with, what's on the horizon for augmented reality. So a little bit of background information on Tipping Point. We have been in business now for over 18 years. We are focused in on training and marketing in the life sciences. But at any given time, we're about 50-50 training versus marketing. But really, at the end of the day, we're really all about education. Now, some of the things that make us unique in the augmented and virtual reality space is the fact that we've been doing it from the very beginning. We've got over 10 years of experience creating these augmented and virtual reality solutions. We have about a 40-person in-house team. We're located just right outside of Philadelphia, Malvern, PA. And the makeup of our team, too, is also unique in the sense that we do have 3D medically certified animators on staff, allows us to keep everything very highly medically accurate, move through things like your med legal departments easier. And there's a key team member that I really want to call out, and that is our instructional designers. And we put a really strong emphasis on our instructional designers to the point of which we're hiring, master level and PhD level instructional designers. And we're doing that for one simple reason, and that is retention. We're never going to rely on these technologies to get our desired outcome. We're always going to have a very sound strategic approach in anything that we're creating, because that's where we're going to get our best retention from, and that's where we can get our best solutions from. And it's that dedication to the sciences and to that sound strategic approach that's really allowed Tipping Point to be successful over the years. Just within the last couple of years, winning over 40 awards for design, education, and innovation. So let's get started with some level setting on, what is augmented reality? It's a great starting point that a lot of our first-time clients kind of come to us with. And augmented reality is a technology that is going to be overlaying, superimposed computer graphics or 3D images on top of a user's existing environment. The most common use of augmented reality is being utilized from a phone, iPad, or let's say Android device. And that's really the beauty behind it, is you don't need any special hardware to go through this highly immersive, highly engaging type of interaction. It can be an app-based solution, or it can be a browser-based solution that we're going to talk about here in more detail. And the way that it works is through the phone in your device. What's going to happen is your phone is going to be searching for a target. That target can be, let's say, a print piece. It can be an image that's on a website, or maybe even an image that's being shared from a remote dinner meeting. Or it could even be a flat surface like your tabletop, or let's say a space in a rep's home. And what we really love about augmented reality is its ability to have a really high retention rate. Doesn't matter if it's a training message or a marketing message that we're trying to get across, we want to make sure that that user is coming through and retaining that message. And augmented reality does an excellent job of this. It's got about a 50 to 60% better retention rate than your non-traditional, or sorry, your non-AR task, or maybe your standard presentation tools. So we're going to ask a quick polling question here. I know with a lot of our clients are already utilizing augmented reality, but we'd love to hear from you. Are you utilizing augmented reality inside your organization at this moment? Give you a little bit of time for everyone to filter in. Wow, it's looking like, well, predominantly everybody. Okay, so a lot of people, it seems like, are very new to augmented reality, and that's great. Yeah, today's session will definitely be covering a lot of very introductory type of information, but also get into some of the deeper details that are really key to know when you're thinking about and designing these types of platforms. So now let's discuss the first two methods for delivering augmented reality. The first of which is going to be your more traditional app-based augmented reality approach. And all you have to do is simply download an augmented reality app from Apple, Google Play, or an enterprise app store. Very similarly to just going into your app store and downloading any other app. Then once that app is downloaded to your phone, it's going to live as a native application. You're going to be able to go back, use it frequently. You'll know right where it's located. And it's really simple to use. People are very familiar with that type of delivery. But with recent developments, the new approach to augmented reality is being able to launch this from a web browser, or what we're calling web AR. And web AR is really the most cutting edge and innovation that's currently available in augmented reality. And it has a lot of people really buzzing about it. This is really a game changer for a lot of our clients, as you no longer need to be able to download an app to have an experience or go through an experience. All you have to simply do is click or scan a QR code, and it's going to launch you directly into your experience. So as you can see here in the demo, on the top of the screen, this is running directly from our website. You can still scan your floor, lock your target, and begin your experience, and let's say walk inside the experience. As you can see, here, like walking through the colon. You can scale it up, you can scale it down, even so that it's desktop size. All of this is now being done without having that barrier of having to download the application. And this streamlined process, which now allows your users to easily and immediately begin your interactions, is really a game changer for our clients. I mean, if you think about just adding a field to a form and getting someone to sign up for a webinar, if you think of that being a barrier, this streamlined process, which now instantaneously you're going to be able to come in and be able to interact with these experiences, is something that the industry has been waiting for. It's something that we're really excited for. But that being said, it really is important to know the benefits and barriers to both app-based and web AR-based solutions. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Brittany, and she's going to talk to us about the benefits and barriers.
Thanks, Sean. So when you're evaluating whether to use an app-based or a web-based app solution, you should consider each platform's unique benefits and barriers. For app-based AR, the most prominent benefit is that it has full access to the processing power of your phone or tablet, and can easily use those phone built-in features like the camera, the microphone, GPS location, etc., which allows it to support more complex interactions and features in the experience. Because web-based AR solutions run in the browser, they're limited to what the web browser can do. And in a way, it's kind of like trying to run an app within another app, which is more processor heavy. App-based doesn't have browser limitations, so you can really create robust visuals without worrying about any sort of performance lag. App-based AR also lives locally on your device, so you can use the app without an internet connection and can safely store information like completion tracking or preferences. You don't need to worry about not being able to load up the experience if you happen to have a spotty internet connection, or losing data if you accidentally clear your browser history. You can also maintain a direct connection to either your learners or customers by having the app continue to live on the device after they use it and download it. So you can use this to update the app with new content in the app, or you can do something like send push notifications directly to your audience, all because this app is still living on their device. Now, with web-based AR, the biggest benefit is there's no app download required at all to access the experience. AR apps are typically very large and can take a while to download and set up. And Web-based AR allows instant access by just plugging in a URL or scanning a QR code. And because it loads right in the browser, it can be seamlessly integrated into an existing web page. So it doesn't disrupt the flow of your user's web experience. They don't need to click a link, be brought out of the website into an app store, and then wait for an app to download. It can all be done within a click of a button in the web page they were already looking at. And with that ease of integration, it also gives you the freedom to distribute how you see fit. You don't need to go through Apple or Google app stores in order to get it to your users. You can upload it to any self-hosted website and distribute it in an existing web page, which you could use in the form of a QR code that can be printed or posted online, or you could just send someone that URL that it's hosted on. The process of uploading, updating, and distributing web AR content is completely within your control. Now let's talk about some of the barriers with each platform. So for app-based AR, the biggest barrier is getting users to download a large app before accessing the experience. And as I mentioned before, the nature of AR applications, the file sizes tend to be larger, and just at the end of the day, it's more difficult to get a user to download an app versus open a web page. The other barrier with app-based AR is that there can be complexities with distribution via an app store. You need an app store in order to distribute an app. So whether it's the public-facing Apple app or Google Play stores or an internal mobile distribution management system, you'll need to have some sort of platform where the app will live and can be downloaded, making distribution and updates a little less streamlined when you're comparing it to a web AR experience. With web-based AR, while you have that ease of distribution and then instant access, you will need a web server in order to host the experience and the URL, and may need to pay some potential licensing fees in order to use the web AR technology. Your users will also always need that internet connection in order to run the experience, since it works within a web browser. And as I mentioned before, web AR does face some technical constraints because it's in the web browser and it's browser-based. It's limited to what is supported in that web browser. These limitations can have a little bit of impact on how much you can push the complexity of the visuals and what kind of interactions can be included in your web AR experience. In addition to considering all of these benefits and barriers, you'll also want to look at your intended use case before choosing a platform to create your AR experience. And I'll hand it back over to Sean to take you through a few examples.
Thank you, Brittany. So let's take a look at the often asked question, what should I consider when choosing our approach? As Brittany mentioned, complex topics and fast-paced gaming still need to be delivered via an app-based solution. While short, straightforward topics and, let's say, targeting older demographics, those are going to blend more towards your web AR approach. Also, you want to keep in mind your user's location. Web AR is an excellent choice for being able to deliver a message, let's say, in a social media platform, but it may not work for one of your target members if you are, let's say, utilizing the app from the bowels of a hospital where there's limited connectivity. You also may want to consider, what's your future usage going to be of your application? What's your long-term plan for it? An app that's going to be kind of like a quick hitting type of augmented reality experience may bode more well towards your web AR experience, where an app that's going to be a solution that, let's say you're going to scale it, let's say across an organization or add multiple products or add gamification to later, that we're going to be looking more of that app-based type of solution. So really understanding your long-term goals and your road mapping is really going to allow you to really scale your build as efficiently and effectively as possible, which is really key when you start to thinking about running an augmented reality campaign, because oftentimes there are a lot of different use cases for these different types of solutions. So let's take a look at just some of these use cases, and quite frankly, we could spend hours upon hours talking about all the different use cases that are available here for augmented reality. But we're going to look at some of the ones that we hear pretty routinely here. And first of which is internal training. Most of our clients still have, let's say, reps or MSLs that have devices that we can still download applications straight to them without any issues. That being said, we do run into some of our clients occasionally that say, hey, we can't drop another item on an iPad or on our reps' iPads. In that case, web AR is going to be a great solution for it. Things like, HCP education and marketing solutions that, do have that extra step of downloading an application, you know, does have that kind of barrier. But sometimes, let's say if we are going to be running something like an interactive MOA game or MOD game, in that case, we still are going to think about utilizing that as a downloadable app, because you want to have that deeper, rich visual. We want to have that more complexity to the gaming, and we're going to look at each situation individually and really kind of assess it and weigh the pros and cons to each. Solutions such as, remote surgeries or procedures oftentimes are still requiring us to run it as an app-based approach, and that's really due to the complexity that we're seeing with things like surgeries or different types of procedures, or, are they being launched as multiplayer experiences? Web-based AR does allow, though, for those simple patient education and marketing solutions. One of the ones that we love and we see oftentimes are patient journeys and patient perspectives. These are experiences that are coming to life through engagement and emotional storytelling that can be that kind of quick hitter that is really valuable to somebody who has, a very short period of time, or, is going through it and looking to make that emotional connection back to that patient. And last but not least, it was, anytime we're looking at a client that has a lot of products and they have a suite of products, instead of building out individual product solutions, looking as building out the app from a product suite perspective is something that we're still doing from an app-based perspective, because oftentimes we are able to condense everything into one application, and being able to run that from a feature standpoint or a maintenancing standpoint or a shared experiencing standpoint is really valuable to a lot of our clients. And like I said, I could talk about these trends for hours and these use cases for hours, but there are some trends that we are starting to see come up from time to time again in the industry. And we're going to run just through a quick demo example here of just those trends. First of which is going to be any type of unbranded campaigns or branded campaigns. These are things that we're seeing trending, pretty frequently, where we're taking things that are hard to see, things that are hard to replicate in real life, and creating them in augmented reality. Also having the ability to take existing content like your print materials or leave behinds, or, as I mentioned before, images from a website, and turning that into augmented reality components is a trend that we're seeing a lot of our clients requesting and asking us for. The next trend too that we're seeing a lot of our clients requesting is the use of augmented realities from trade shows. We're all very excited to be back to making that, that human connection and those back to in-person events. And augmented reality is just known for having that trade show buzz about it and driving foot traffic to your booth. Even in the last couple of years, though, we've done a lot of, remote augmented reality for those hybrid types of events. Moving forward, it's going to be very valuable. HCP and provider training is another one that we're seeing a lot of clients asking us for augmented reality tools for. And doctor-patient education, now having the ability to educate a patient on a complex procedure is something that a lot of our clients are benefiting from as well. And of course, augmented reality detailing is a trend that I think is just really starting to take off. Having the ability to have a rep walk into a doctor's office and engage them in a manner of which they've never seen before has a lot of benefits. Doing it from a remote detailing standpoint, or everybody loves the 24-hour-a-day remote rep that self-detailing tools can bring. So these are all just really exciting trends that we're seeing in the industry, and we're coming up with new constant ones daily in terms of new use cases. And Brittany's going to be talking to us here about what's on the horizon and what can we expect going forward.
So looking forward, what's next for AR technology? Well, the first item that I'd like to talk about is multi-user experiences. And this is something that we're already seeing and is possible now, but will really start to take off as AR becomes more widely adopted. So imagine an AR experience where a 3D mechanism of action comes to life in a conference room you're sitting in. Well, what if your colleague also had that same experience come to life in their home office? They might be several time zones away, but you'd be seeing the same thing at the same time. And that really creates this very collaborative experience that you can go through together. Another item that is really on the cusp of starting to be implemented, but is quite not there technologically yet, is the use of body tracking in AR. And just like face tracking filters that you can use on Instagram or Snapchat, body tracking will be able to augment the entire human body. And this has great potential uses for building patient empathy. So imagine you're creating a patient journey around, let's say, psoriasis that could give reps or HCPs the opportunity to scan their body and augment their skin to simulate what it would be like to have the disease. As I mentioned, body tracking is still a little bit away technologically. It's still being worked out, but this will be a tool that could be utilized in the next upcoming years. Lastly, as we see an increase in 5G network infrastructure, we're going to see a more large-scale adoption of AR in our everyday life, as well as increased complexity of real-time use cases. This could be in the form of seeing AR navigation built into our car windshields, instructions or information being projected into a firefighter's helmet during a search and rescue, or even real-time AR renderings being utilized to assist in surgical procedures. With that faster internet connection, larger amounts of data is going to be able to be transferred more quickly. So this is just going to increase the possibilities and applications of AR in every industry.
Thank you, Brittany. It really is an exciting time for augmented reality, and it looks like we only have a few minutes left. So what we're going to do now is jump to any questions that you may have. If you want to put your questions in, we'd love to answer any questions that your team has. Okay, looks like we're getting one question in here. Is there a longer lead time between an augmented reality app creation and a web AR app creation? Brittany, do you want to talk to that?
Sure. I would say if you're taking the same type of application and just changing the platform, no, there's not a longer lead time. However, as we discussed, app-based AR solutions are typically more complex. So if you have like a larger app that warrants app-based AR, by nature it would be more complex and take more time. But if it's the same thing and it's just a difference of, is it an app, is it web? No, there's no difference in the lead time.
Okay. Looks like we have another question here. Once you have a lesson created, how complex is it to edit the content? Good question.
Sure. So it depends on the changes, but it would be a matter of jumping in and editing the content. If it's a visual, it would be swapping out that model. You wouldn't need to change the entire course at all. It would just be going to that specific spot and swapping out the content. Sean, is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, from the aspect of looking at it too, you are going to have that application on that person's phone, right? So we can do the push notifications out to them, which, thinking about it from a marketing perspective, oftentimes we're creating these solutions to be ongoing solutions that, live on for years. They're not typically a one-time use thing. So, if we're planning on updates, a lot of times we'll do scheduled releases so that the content that is in there is constantly being updated and refreshed to engage your user. Okay. See, we got some more questions coming in here. Who is the administrator on the materials? Can it be locally administrated, or does TPM retain the admin end?
So how we generally work is we work with your IT departments or whoever is in charge of the App Store or the website that it would live on, and we would work with you to make those updates, but you would own the final deliverable of that app, so you can distribute it however.
Okay. We got some more questions coming in. Looks like we've got a question around cost. Are the, well, it's kind of reading. Do app-based AR experiences cost more or less. And so that's really going to depend on the application itself. In terms of what we're creating, we still have to go through, create the 3D assets. Brittany kind of mentioned earlier, in terms of timing, having, potentially a little bit of a less turnaround with WebAR being a little bit less complex. Also, too, you don't have to run the WebAR through, as you mentioned, to your Apple review store or your Google Play Store review time. So you can have a little bit of, cost saving and efficiency there.
I will say, Sean, that with WebAR, there are potential licensing fee with the AR technology, as well as hosting requirements. So that's just another thing that you would need to factor in to those costs.
Okay. Any examples of a company that feels comfortable onboarding an app if they are concerned about IT issues? So yeah, I think anytime you're bringing these applications to a group that maybe hasn't done it before, I think what our team does a really excellent job of, and whoever your vendor that you're going to be utilizing it, I recommend them getting involved pretty early. A lot of also making them comfortable with what's taking place. Let's also say from a med legal standpoint is, doing really copious storyboarding, making sure that everything is laid out very clearly. I know, Brittany, you're working with some of the IT teams in getting things hosted, let's say, in their own enterprise app store. Maybe if you want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, and the reason that we do that, we're very comfortable with working with IT or working outside of IT. We've worked both as consultants on new technologies, whether it's AR or VR, getting that up the ground when there is no IT support, or collaborating, the key is early, with your existing IT teams to leverage what tools your organization's already using. If your reps or if your learners are already using and used to working within certain tools, we want to be able to leverage those as much as possible to not kind of culture shock them with the new technology and make that integration as seamless as possible. So certainly that's something that we have experience in both realms, working with IT or working from the ground up.
Okay. Let's see, any other questions? Okay, it looks like we've got everybody covered. Now, so this is something, again, in terms of augmented reality and WebAR that, we're really excited for. If you have any questions that, come up post this webinar, feel free to reach out to us. We love these types of solutions. We're really passionate about it. We'd love to hear, what some of your questions are, what some of your visioning looks like, because oftentimes when we're creating these solutions, the best solutions that we're creating are those collaborative type solutions. And, we really love to share our passion for this type of technology with our clients. So we look forward to hearing from you, and we'll let everyone kind of get back to their day here. Hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.